That was a look at the new documentary, Amplified, the exportation of the culture wars. The film explores the profound influence of American culture and politics on the global discourse, particularly in Europe and, indeed, Ireland. Joining us now is that film's director, Mike Sheridan. Mike, film made its debut on Friday, features quite the cast of characters, of experts
yourself.
there. Yeah. Was happy to participate. So tell us a little bit more about what you mean, though, in terms of how what we're seeing. We've long known that American pop culture travels the world, but what you're saying here is it's political discourse and how we're talking about politics and the anger that often accompanies it. That's also crossing the Atlantic.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, politics and culture became indistinguishable. So whether that was Bill Clinton with the saxophone on Arsenio Hall show in the 90s, to Arnold Schwarzenegger running for governor, to Sarah Palin getting her own reality TV show, all the way up to Donald Trump. So because culture was exported to Ireland kind of exponentially, and we consumed American movies, American music, it happened kind of naturally and organically with politics. And now we're starting to see lots of people in Ireland and what we would call the far right using similar types of rhetoric, or using the phrases of left and right more in an American context than in what would be an Irish context, because they're not monoliths, they're very, very different things depending on where you are.
So explain to us how this has reached the shores of Ireland, and particularly the way it culminated in riots in November of 2023 that made international headlines.
Yeah, so in November of 2023, there was a horrendous assault on 4 young children and a carer in the city centre of Dublin. When word got out that a migrant was responsible for this assault, or somebody who at least wasn't born in Ireland, there started to be a lot of mis and disinformation being spread on Telegram, being spread on WhatsApp, and being spread on social media for people to basically gather in town and to start attacking migrants, to start going after politicians. And the Gardaí, the Irish police force, were kind of caught off guard. So essentially what happened then was, because essentially these people were given somebody to blame via the culture wars, they caused carnage. Now, during the riots, thankfully nobody was killed, but the damage to Dublin was absolutely astounding. There was the Lewis, our tram system was set on fire. We had buses set on fire. We've got, with all this footage is in the documentary, we've got Gardaí, members of the Gardaí being attacked, and the Irish police force are not armed. They're an armed unit, so they kind of had to fend for themselves. So, and then in the aftermath of the Dublin riots, there was, again, mis and disinformation spread by figures in the US like Tucker Carlson, like Steve Bannon, like members of the far right, or what we would consider the far right, on social media. So lots of tweets saying Irish lives matter, obviously based on an American phrase, that really kind of focused in on Ireland but didn't really seem to include the Irish people at all.
A lot of those right-wing US figures sort of leapt into the breach there, if you will, seeing an opportunity.
Yeah.
So talk to us about, in terms of Ireland, use it as a case study, because we know it's happening elsewhere across Europe and the globe too. What's the impact of the disinformation, misinformation, and what is being done to combat it?
Yeah, I mean, right now in Ireland, the government are very passive, I think, when it comes to the far right, and it comes to this kind of growing discourse, and which is really, it's kind of a form of contrarianism in Ireland. Obviously, there's only so much you can do about it online. I think X in particular is a bit of a cesspit for it, because what we've seen happen with really well-known figures, really famous people in Ireland, people like Conor McGregor, being somewhat radicalised, in my opinion, on these social media channels by verified accounts, kind of feeding him disinformation and misinformation, and him then amplifying it. Like we saw Conor McGregor on the White House pulpit there a few months ago talking about an invasion in Ireland, which again is a conspiracy theory that has travelled long around the world. But when Conor McGregor was questioned about the undocumented, apparently about 10,000 undocumented Irish in the US, he didn't really have an answer for that. So it's also being amplified by Irish figures, again, with US influence, or Irish figures with huge platforms.
It's so hard to have the conversations we need when we can't even agree on the same set of facts. The excellent and important new documentary, Amplified, the exportation of the culture wars, is available right now on Apple TV, Amazon, and Google Play. Check it out. Director Mike Sheridan. Mike, thank you. Good to see you.
Thanks so much.